Today on Inspired Money.
That even though there were stressful times, it was like always clear to me what I was doing. And it never felt like work. And I told people for years I never made as little as I made in my life, literally. And yet I've never been happier. And it's true. I have never been happier than like the last 4 years plus on this journey, building the gym. And it's because I am going after my purpose and I'm pursuing it. So where the finances haven't looked as great as I would like them to, or and I'd like for a client to look, I still don't have any regrets. And I would tell somebody to do the same thing if they felt that kind of passion, because either you can propel yourself financially or your passion's going to propel you through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship.
This is episode 37 with founder of the Financial Gym, Shannon McLay. Welcome to Inspired Money. My name is Andy Wong, a managing partner at RUNNYMEDE Capital Management. Each week, we bring you an interesting person to help you get inspired, shift your perspectives on money, and achieve incredible things. From making it to giving it away, Inspired Money means making a difference, creating something bigger than oneself, and maybe, just maybe, making the world a better place. Thank you for joining me. Hey, Inspired Moneymaker. I hope you're feeling financially energized today. I have a question for you. How many days a week do you exercise? And walking counts. Or maybe you hit the gym? Imagine for a moment if you could go to a financial gym with the goal of being more financially fit. That could mean reducing debt if you have it, maybe increasing your savings rate. Today's guest, Shannon McLay, wants you to do just that. She opened the Financial Gym in New York City and is currently serving 500 clients. In addition to learning about Shannon, the entrepreneur, and her company, in this episode you'll learn the financially correct way to start a business, how it's the tiny decisions that add up to allow you to hit big milestones, and how adding friction between you and your spending can save you money. Now let's get inspired with Shannon McLay. Shannon, welcome to Inspired Money. It's so great to have you on the show.
So happy to be here, Andy. Thank you.
Let's jump right in. What's your earliest childhood memory of money?
My earliest childhood memory of money is in making it. I think the theme of my whole life is making money. And I remember getting paid $2 an hour to babysit. And I grew up in a home with... we had a lot of kids and I babysat for quote free from my mom. I really didn't have a choice. It was my sibling. So I never got paid for it. And then I remember somebody advertising for a babysitter and I was 12 at the time and they were paying $2 an hour. And I was so excited to get paid something for a job that I was doing for free at home. And so I loved it. That was the beginning of me making money. It was about 12.
That's very cool. Well, home was your internship.
Exactly. That's a great way to look at it, Andy. Yeah. And then I discovered around 14, I hated babysitting. And then that's when I got my first real job, which is working at a bagel store. But never been afraid of hard work, though. I just love when I get paid for it.
Nice.
It's nice when you get paid for the hard work you're doing.
That is good. Now, we met at the Road to Financial Wellness kickoff event that you hosted at your unique and beautiful financial gym in New York City.
Yeah. Thanks. It was a great event. I love Jason. I love Jason Vitug's mission to because it's obviously my mission too, is to have money conversations and have them openly and honestly and in a space. And that was the whole reason why I pretty much created the Financial Gym. And I wanted to create an environment that was like that. And I don't think it was the gym. I mean, it could have been a combination of the gym, the environment that was comfortable, could have been the wine, could have been the beer, could have been the icebreakers. But I thought that event was great because there was a lot of honesty around money and questions. And I thought it was really a great night. It
was a great night. Great turnout, good subject matter. And I did notice on the Financial Gym website that one of the benefits is unlimited snacks, wine, and beer.
This is true.
Can you talk about what inspired you to become an entrepreneur and launch the financial gym?
Yeah, I tell people I never had any intention of being an entrepreneur ever. And it was funny, actually, my college roommate just called me out to remind me that I took an entrepreneurial class in college in business school. And I was like, oh, I forgot about that class. But then upon further reflection, I realized I just took that class because I had to take a senior level class. And it was between that like an Uber level finance, like that I didn't want to take, like corporate finance, or it was marketing, which I really didn't want to take, or it was like some kind of information technology, which I didn't want to take. So it was like all these things I didn't want to, it was like the lesser of like 5 evils.
Process of elimination.
Yeah, it was literally a process of elimination. So it's just funny when she called me out on that. I was like, no, but I didn't really want to do it. I just like it was the thing I wanted to do or the most of the least kind of thing. So, and actually in that class, I realized I had no good ideas. Like I didn't want to do it. But when I was working at Merrill Lynch as a financial advisor, I just saw this need of financial planning for the masses, essentially, and not being a website or an app or strictly limited to the advisor being a bot or some kind of virtual experience. The vision that I had was, and it still is like H&R Block, but fun and cool and for financial planning. And people know when they see an H&R Block, they can get tax help. Doesn't matter what their situation is. I wanted to create the same environment for financial planning so that people who see a financial gym location near them, they know they could join, and it doesn't matter what they look like from a financial plan experience, that we can help them get where they want to go. The same concept with a regular gym too, is that there's healthy people and unhealthy people all working out together collectively at a gym, and gyms don't discriminate. So I wanted to create that environment, but around money.
So the gap that you saw, or the opportunity that you saw, was a broader market, helping those who didn't have $1 million yet.
Yeah, actually, it was $250,000 was the minimum at Merrill Lynch to work with a financial advisor. And, I laugh all the time when I think about it, because literally you didn't count as a client if you didn't have $250,000 in assets. Like if I wanted to bring on my friend who had $15,000 and I was just going to put her in a mutual fund for her, she wouldn't count as a client of mine because she didn't have the assets, which is just ridiculous. I say the traditional advisory space is, it's sizest as far as assets. It's ageist because most people in there are older with wealth. It's definitely racist. There's not enough diversity in there. It's just like every bad-ist possible. And and I just didn't want to like stay in that. I saw people who, had $250,000 student loan debt, and they were like, hey, how do I fix this? Or, what do I do? And or like I have $10,000 and what do I do with it? Just there's so many different things, and I left Merrill 4 years ago to build the gym and the concept of it and the financial training model that is what my trainers do now and what we teach. And the thing that people miss is like they get so the financial stuff and the jargon and everything just confuses people. But what it really comes down to, financial health, is just some really basic math and some basic money decisions. And there is frequently just like people just don't have that person to bounce ideas off of or access to, somebody who's going to have a different opinion, until you have wealth. And I wanted to give them that person, I want to give them a person. I mean, there's so many apps and bots and websites out there, and it's great. Like we have people who, there are plenty of people using them and have to great success, and that's fantastic. It's just like people who go to gyms, motivated enough to do it themselves, but not everybody is a self-motivator. And actually a lot of times with money, people are, and you saw this when we were at the gym, I asked about how people felt around their money, and the two biggest feelings are fear and shame. And those are that's not emotions you're going to feel around money and then go to an app and feel better about it. I mean, we have clients come in all the time. A lot of people use mint.com, and they were like, yeah, they literally say mint.com judges them. And I said, how does it judge you? And they're like, well, because, I spent too much on food last month, and it just told me I spent too much on food, but it didn't give me a solution. It just judged me. And I was like, all right, well, that's not judging you. It's just stating a fact. But But that's, so then they'll just stop using Mint, right? Or like Mint's right. I mean, it's not wrong, but because Mint has all this judgment, it's not gonna, then they won't use Mint, or they'll stop using it. I don't want them to stop doing what's healthy for them because they don't like the messaging.
Right. Now, you were in financial services for 12 or 13 years. Was there a defining moment when you decided that you were going to become an accidental entrepreneur?
I always tell people it's my origin story. But a few years before I became an advisor, I went on this journey of like feeling like I wanted to help people and make a difference, and I wasn't really sure exactly how. And then I thought part of it would be becoming a financial advisor because there's not enough women in the space, and I thought that's going to be what I'm going to do. And I was doing that. I was really successful as the advisor, but like I said, I was building this like business or meeting all these people who didn't have qualified to be a client, but wanted help. And it was literally a week of my life. It happened within a few days that on a Tuesday, I met with a couple and they had over $1 million invested with me. And we were doing their quarterly review. Their portfolio was down 3%. And they just spent most of the meeting complaining about where their money was and, what was going on. And I said, I spent an hour of my life helping them feel better about being a little less rich and like essentially losing my soul. And I thought, this is not really what I thought I signed up for. And then 2 days later, I did a financial plan for a woman who certainly never would have had access to an advisor. And at the end and the plan was just a basic Word document telling her what to do with her money. And at the end of the meeting, she stopped, she looked me in the eye and she said, you're saving my life, right? And I was like, oh, like this is so much more fulfilling. And the reality is like people who don't really need it are getting all this great advice from financial advisors. And there's people like this woman and all my pro bono clients who could really use it. And it actually is really life changing and saving. And I wanted to give that to them. So that was it. I literally in that moment, I was like, I've got to create a company for this person. And that was what I did.
That's really awesome. Let's talk about purpose for a minute, because that seems like the difference for you, right? Mm-hmm. For your job. It was like when you were in traditional financial advisory, you kind of felt like you were missing that purpose, and now you've found it.
Yeah. I was never really on a path for purpose until I got into my early 30s. And I was, kind of feeling not burnt out, but like that I was like going after this life that didn't really feel like mine, because I, started working 18 years ago now is when I started my first job. I had a job on a trading floor right out of college and had a really successful career in financial services. I got married. I had a kid. I had a great house. I was like living like what I felt like was supposedly what I was supposed to be doing. And then I hit 30 and a half and I just kind of had this meltdown of like, this is not the life that I want. I'm not really sure about any of it actually. And I started getting life coached and looking for, what was beyond it. Cause before that, I would tell people all the time, I said, I'm not changing the world. I'm just making money. Cause I make great money at the job. And, but yeah, there was a lot of unhappiness. And then I started on this journey. And then really in my like early 30s, I was looking for something more, but I still didn't really know what it was. But I was on this search for it.
How did the life coach help you?
I actually really enjoyed the life coaching process because at least, every life coach is different. There's so many different coaching styles. Why it really worked for me and he really worked for me was just identifying that I was unhappy, I took a personality test. That was part of what he did. And it was identifying like what was causing my unhappiness. And it was fun. And what I like about it is like, hey, I'm not going to make you spend a lot of time reliving like what happened when you were 5, why that's like disappointing to you now at like 32. But it was like the whole coaching was like, okay, all this stuff happened. I don't really care about what happened before you got here. I care about where you want to go from this point on. And a lot of that is actually ingrained in a part of my financial training process. We always tell clients, we don't care how you got here financially. Certainly there's more messes than others. We just care about getting you where you want to go. And sometimes we get really stuck in in the past of what brought us here. We're not focused on moving beyond that. And so that was like a lot of what that helpfulness of the coaching process was. Identifying where I wanted to go, because I was clearly not where I wanted to be. And part of that was like, reading books and doing different exercises and challenges to kind of identify that. And at the core of all of that, I really, what came from the whole experience was that I did want to find a job where I could help people and create positive change. I didn't know it was going to be this. But when I had that idea, in that week and with that woman, it was like, it all kind of came together. And this was like 4 years after I got life coach. It was, again, still not clear what it was, but then all of a sudden it was like completely crystal clear. Like in that moment, I was like, I just knew exactly what it's like. Literally the financial gym idea came to me. Then it would be called financial gym, like that it would be a retail location, like a physical location. So many things were so crystal clear to me in that moment. It was really odd. I believe in the universe and, the secret and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think it was totally odd. I think it just all kind of came, like that moment, it became really clear.
All at once.
Yeah, it's all at once, but it was really like 4 years in the making. It's like, so.
That's super cool. So what's the business model for the financial gym? Is it more fitness club than financial advisory?
Yeah, so it's a monthly membership fee like you would pay at a regular gym. And our plans are usually around $85 a month. That's our core plan, is about $85 a month, like a regular gym. We have what we call our student plan or our scholarship plan for clients who are struggling a little bit. That's $35 a month. And then it goes up from there for clients who have more wealth and some like maybe other needs and need more experienced trainers. But our clients pay, and then they pay the monthly fee. They get paired with a financial trainer, and who's essentially a financial planner, but who wears jeans and t-shirts and has beyond the financial plan traditional CFP training. My trainers are trained in other areas like student loan debt, like credit scores, credit management, salary negotiating, a whole bunch of other things that really impact people's money decisions. So that's what the model looks like. So we do that. That's our core of our business, working with our clients. And then we also work with companies on financial wellness campaigns. We do lunch and learns, or we do in-house. I was called the Lucy from Peanuts experience, where we're like, the planner is in kind of thing, like where we'll go to the office, like for the day, one of our trainers, and answer, like do 15-minute blocks with companies for employees. And so those are like our two main areas of what we do. So I left Merrill 4 years ago to build a gym. The first 2 years, I was going through all my personal money and like trying to figure out what the model looked like, how much it was going to cost, if I even wanted to do it. There were a lot of things going on in that 2 years of figuring it out. And then 2 years ago, I always tell people the true starting point for the gym was 2015. And that was when I got an outside investor to put the financial gym concept out there, to register the trademark and really kind of push it forward. And from that point, it took me another 2 years to raise our first round of money. Last year, we raised $1.8 million to build the gym you were in a few weeks back, and then to build, we're working on our Brooklyn location right now, and then we'll be outside of New York by early next year.
Oh wow! So the plan is to expand the number of financial gyms over time.
Yep. My goal is to have gyms across the country by next year.
Oh, that's amazing. So truly bringing it to the masses, which is your mission.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's it. It's the path has been windy and crazy, but the destinations always look the same. Actually, one of my investors in this recent round that I raised it was interesting. He was like, what's the big picture? Like, what is it? And I told him, and I realized that the big picture's always been the same. Like, it's gyms across the country. It is H&R Block. It's gyms everywhere. It's taken me a while to get there, and it's evolved and all that stuff. But like, the big picture's always been the same.
It's super interesting because I think that you're defining your space, because unlike fitness gyms, and I don't remember what the figure is. I think I saw something like there are 30,000 gyms across the United States. In the financial gym space, you've created your category.
Yeah, it's funny because I was talking to an investor when I was trying to raise last year, and they were like, "How do you feel about the name Financial Gym?" Because they also do branding work, and I could tell he didn't like it, And I was like, "Okay, well, here's why I love it. We use a lot of fitness analogies with money. People don't understand money, but they understand fitness, and it works with our pricing model. People understand a trainer concept." I said, I really kind of model the idea around the CrossFit idea. I said, I'm not a part of a CrossFit gym, but I have so many friends on social media who are part of CrossFit gyms, and they're obsessed with their CrossFit gym. And I said, I want to create that, but for money. And I want people to have that kind of passion about it. And so I kept going on about a few things. And then finally the guy was like, you know what? I originally hated the name because a lot of branding companies actually want to change their name. That's part of what they feel like is part of the brand, is that they get to create the name and what you are. And I was like, the name's going to be Financial Gym, just FYI. When I was talking to the branding people, I was like, we have the trademark and we want it. And so this guy was like, at the end of it was like, you know what? At first, I didn't like it. And he's like, but now the more I talk to you, I actually love it because you're it. Who else could really be a financial gym? You're like the Kleenex of this. And I was like, yeah, that's where and it's funny because people are like, what does a financial gym look like? I was like, I don't know. It exists now. It finally does. But I never really had this great, I knew it was going to be fun and cool and inviting, but now we're getting more definition around it with putting it out there. But it's funny when people come, they're they don't know what to expect. Where's the workout equipment, or where's this? And yeah, we are creating what that finance space looks like.
Coming up, Shannon talks about how she started the business with little more than an abundance of passion and purpose, how she defined success, and more. But first, the benefit of opening up a gym that does not require a lot of money for expensive weights and exercise machines.
Yeah, I told him I love it. I said, we work, we partner a bunch with Blink Fitness, and they're going across the country. They're owned by Equinox right now. I think they're splitting from them, but they're the lower end gym. So they have, their monthly fees are $15 to $25 a month, but it still costs them $2 million to build out a gym.
Right.
So even for their low end gym brand, it still costs $2 million to build one out. So I do feel really good that it doesn't cost us near as much, which means we don't have to and then I keep thinking about them at $25 a head. I'm like, that is a lot of bodies.
That's a lot of bodies.
They got to get in there to make up that $2 million. Yeah, so I do feel good about our model.
The show notes for this episode can be found at inspiredmoney.fm/037. It's time for the Runnymede Money Tip of the Week. This one is really fun. Maybe it's not so much a money tip as it is a find your money tip. I'm talking about lost and unclaimed funds that might belong to you. This happens most often when you've moved addresses and an old bank account is forgotten, or there's uncashed dividends, refunds, or distributions, leaving some money in the account. Approximately 1 in every 10 Americans has unclaimed property, and get this, billions of dollars have been lost. In 2015, $3.2 billion were returned to its rightful owners by the state government unclaimed property agencies. This sounds weird, but it's totally legit. We've checked for ourselves, and we've also helped find our clients money. Here's what you need to do. First, be advised that you could potentially have unclaimed property in every state that you've lived in. Go to the National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators website. That's at unclaimed.org, unclaimed.org. This is the Association of State Programs. You'll find all of the information that you need here. Now, most states participate in a national database at missingmoney.com. That's missingmoney.com. This site is endorsed by the National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators, or NAUPA. This is what you want to do. Enter your first name and last name and your state of residence. Hit go, and it's going to return a list of names. Look to see if one of your previous addresses is listed. If yes, follow the instructions to redeem your funds. Safe, I also suggest that you check the free search state by state that you can find at the unclaimed.org website. Both the NAUPA and Missing Money websites are free. Be careful of scammers or finder companies that try to notify you of your unclaimed funds, and they're going to try charging you a percentage of the total. By doing it yourself, if you have unclaimed property, there should either be no cost or a very small fee depending on the state. Good luck, and if you find any money, please share your great news in our Facebook group at inspiredmoney.fm/Facebook. I hope to hear from you. That's the Runnymede Money Tip of the Week. Thanks for tuning in every week, or if you're a first-time listener, welcome. A quick shout out to say thank you to Lauren6395 for writing a review at Apple Podcasts. She wrote, "Much more than money. This show is about so much more than money. It's about how to live a fulfilling life and not let money get in your way. I love the episode, Pursuit of a Purpose-Driven Life. The guest was so inspiring, and I enjoyed hearing about her career path. The show is really well produced, and I'm excited to hear more." Thank you so much, Lauren. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. You're listening to Inspired Money by Runnymede Capital Management. I'm Andy Wong. In this relatively short, windy and crazy path, what mistakes have you made and what have you learned?
Yeah, I always say there was a book I got in college, and it was like something like The Life Lessons. And the first lesson was like, there's no mistakes in life, only lessons. And it was like, step 2 was like, repeat step 1 until you learn from it, kind of thing. And so I don't feel like there's any mistakes. I don't believe in mistakes. I definitely believe in lessons. And lessons learned are, and I get a lot of people ask me about this from clients' perspective, like about starting a business and advice. And I think the lesson learned is like, there's a right way financially to start a business, and then there's the way I did it. And I think both are right, but I think like the financially sound and right way to do it, and I advise clients, is if you're really thinking about starting something, you definitely want to have like at least a year savings. Like if it costs you $4,000 a month to live, then multiply that by 12, and like you should at least have that in cash and there to support you. Then the next thing you have to think about beyond that is just supporting you is like, how much money does your business need to make, and really like think through how much you really need. Cause like for me right away, I thought I needed a space. And I had like a co-working space for like a year, which I really didn't need. So that was a waste of money. So I think sometimes you think you have to have all these expenses or this great website or whatever, and you could waste a lot of money on that kind of stuff. So keeping it simple and less complicated as long as possible. And then knowing what so your total year, even if you have the greatest idea, I say like your business is not going to take off right away. It's just not. So you want to give yourself like a good runway so you're not stressed about money. And you can really work on building the business. So I feel like that's the financially right way to do it. The way I did it was I just quit, and I was like, oh, I have this money. So it'll support me. Or I really thought the business would be like gangbusters in like the first 2 months. Like I didn't even think about the fact that the business wouldn't be supporting the business and definitely not supporting me like right away. But why I say my way is not necessarily wrong is I was so passionate about this business. Like after that meeting with that woman where she said I was saving her life, I was like, I have to do this. And I literally could not sleep. Everything was like the gym. All of a sudden, it was just like everything was coming together. And all I could think about was the gym and the work I was going to do and working with clients. And the 2 years leading up to getting that outside investor were like so scary. And I was going through all my money. I joked at the event that everybody was sitting in my 401k account because like I went through all of that to start this business. But and all of those things, like I was so passionate and focused on my clients and like what I was building, that and the purpose, that even though there were stressful times, it was like always clear to me what I was doing. And it never felt like work. And I told people for years I never made as little as I made in my life, literally. And yet I've never been happier. And it's true. I have never been happier than like the last 4 years plus on this journey building the gym. And it's because I am going after my purpose and I'm pursuing it. So where the finances haven't looked as great as I would like them to, or and I'd like for a client to look, I still don't have any regrets. And I would tell somebody to do the same thing if they felt that kind of passion, because either you can propel yourself financially or your passion's going to propel you through the ups and downs of entrepreneurship.
I love that. And I love that you're connecting the happiness and purpose, because all of us hear the stories about the miserable billionaire, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely not there yet, Andy. So, it's funny. I got to the point where I was just so used to not having money or making any money that like in building this business that, my investors, we talked about, like I own a lot of shares of the company now. And it's like, I can't even contemplate the exit and this big financial windfall at this point, because like it's been so not about the money. And I joke, I can't tell my investors that, but it hasn't been about the money and like the big payout. It's really been about the business and like what we do. And, so it's like, it's almost uncomfortable when people talk about it making money. It's like, why? That's not really why we're here. But I just need enough to pay my bills. That's it.
Right. So you've got people working to become financially fit. How do you define good financial fitness?
Yeah, I define it as the ability to live the life you want to live without money being a stress factor in it. So our financially fit clients are making choices all the time. They're doing what they want to do as far as their goals, their hopes and dreams, and money is not impacting their choices.
So do you think the work that you're doing, that the trainers are doing, is it more along the lines of what one might think of like a financial coach rather than a financial advisor?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely more of the coach. I mean, they do everything a financial advisor do. Well, we don't invest your money for you. We empower you to do it yourself. We kind of joke. I said it's like it's basic math. It's a lot of psychology at the end of the day, and it is a lot of coaching and encouragement. And people ask me, who's a financial trainer? Like, how do you know financial trainer? And I always say it's somebody who's compassionate, empathetic, wants to help people, and has an interest in money or personal finance topics. And that's what a financial trainer is. And it is a lot of coaching. It's a lot of encouragement. It's a lot of, there's a lot of ups and downs in people's financial journeys, and it's keeping them focused and getting them to the next levels. I have 4 clients this year that all couples, all that I've been working with for over 3 years now, that are all hitting some really big milestones in the next 6 months. One couple they're buying a home in London, and we've been working on that. They were living in New York when we started. And they literally just put an offer in on this home in London. And another couple is buying a home for the first time. And we've already gotten them through their wedding, but now the home is obviously a bigger financial commitment. And then I've got another couple who's moving across the country, who they've been building on this move for like the last 3 years. And then I have, another couple kind of doing something similar with a big move. And it's like crazy, because it's like, for me, it's so surreal. And I have 4 couples all around the same time doing really big things. Cause it's like, we've been planning for this for 4 years or 3 years, like meeting every 3 months, like just grinding out like all these decisions, like everything leading to these big moments. And like, here we are at the big moment. And it's like, it's crazy. And it's the best thing ever to be like a part of that. And that's like, yeah, it's a lot of coaching, but, and like small things that lead to big, small like details. I mean, with all these couples, like a lot of our quarterly reviews were just like tiny decisions, it feels like now, compared to like, the $800,000 home they're buying. It's like they all seem really insignificant, but yet they were all needed to happen to get to this big point.
Well, those are the stories that keep everybody going because I think it goes back to setting all those little goals equal to big ones, right? But it's those big milestones that you're really celebrating because that's when it's most meaningful.
Yeah, but it's actually, you need to be celebrating all the little ones along the way because, you'll lose focus. It's like we talk about, going back to gym or training ideas. Like, if you decide you want to run a marathon, you're not going to run a marathon tomorrow. The day you decide you're not going to run it tomorrow, you're going to have to go through a training regimen and you're going to run a few, miles at a time here and there. And even like right before the marathon, you don't actually run the full marathon when you're training, but you get close to it. And it's like, and it takes time and it takes like training and it takes these little, like, a mile is not a lot when you compare it to the whole long run you're going to have to do. But there are days where you're going to run a mile and that's part of your training program. And it's the same thing with money. It's like, there's just so many things you need to do. And people are always fixated on the big goal and getting like losing sight of it because it just seems too big and like too long and too hard. But like, it's the little things. And that's like the biggest thing we do for our clients is we're there keeping them focused on the little stuff so that they get to the bigger things quicker.
Are there common problems that you see among your membership that can benefit our listener today?
Yeah, I think a common problem for everybody, I say all the time, is mindfulness. Everybody has an issue around mindfulness with money. And it's partly because of credit cards and debit cards. Literally, your brain shuts down when you swipe a credit card. Your thought processing center shuts down when you swipe a card. So people just aren't mindful of like how they're spending their money and where it's going. And I can't tell you how many times we hear people at the gym or people in general, I don't know where my money's going. I don't know where my money's going. And there's ways to know where your money's going. It's just that's like a common theme. And people don't know where their money's going because they're not mindful of it. And they're not mindful of the choices they're making and mindful that the choices they're making are adding up for better or worse. And they need to be mindful of every last bit.
Do you have specific exercises to help them become more mindful and be more cognizant of where their money's going? Yep.
You have to join the gym to find out what they are. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason why we have a 90% success rate for our clients. And it has been a lot of trial and not even trial and error. We have a lot of different exercises we do with our clients. It just depends on what their particular challenge is and then finding the right solution that's going to help them do that.
From client to client and trainer to trainer, how similar is their financial fitness regimen? How customized is it per individual?
It's completely customized. I mean, plans are pretty, they're not generic. It's a lot of like numbers and equations, and there's people have, some specific goals, but like the actual work, the quarterly meetings and the specific exercises are completely unique to the clients because you're trying to figure out what's going to keep them focused or on track. And, I've had clients who are like, need to stop spending money on shopping. And they'll like, I had one client, she needed to stop spending money shopping. She's like, okay, I'm going to set a goal for myself the next quarter, the next 3 months that I have to try on clothes before I buy them. Because the problem I have is I'll just buy the clothes, won't try them on, I'll bring them home, they won't fit, I won't return them, and I've wasted money. So that was one of her goals. And she literally saved $2,500 that quarter. And it was mostly because of that. I've had clients who are like, I'm going to take a different route home because Duane Reade in New York is a problem area for me. It's a drugstore. So I'm going to literally change the way I go to work. Or I'm going to delete the Uber app from my phone because it's too easy for me to get Uber. Or I'm going to invest in a pair of sneakers so I will walk more to work instead of, Ubering or whatever, mass transit or whatever. I mean, there's so many different ways I could keep going. I mean, literally could go on for a long time. We have over 500 clients and they're all doing different things because the thing is, it's like, what's going to be unique for them and what's going to work for them. And the same thing doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah, it's a unique way of thinking because we're always reading about successful businesses, whether it's eBay or Uber, and in those instances, they're trying to make the transactions for the customer frictionless.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about when it comes to spending your money, how do you reinsert friction into there?
Yeah, we want a lot of friction. Yeah, we want the maximum amount of friction possible because this is a problem in our country, and this is why we have, all-time high debt levels and
right, and no savings.
And no savings. I mean, it's because it is too easy to spend money. And I tell clients all the time, I said, you work hard for every dollar that you make. You need to make it hard to spend every dollar that you make. And the problem is, yes, with technology, it's just become super easy. And in fact, it's like targeted to you. Your phone is telling you how to spend money. And
yes, it's scary because if I search for sneakers, then every website I go to, it's delivering me sneaker ads.
Oh, they know. Yeah. And they know it's intentional. And, it's making it completely easy for you to spend money. So we're working on kind of taking back all of that.
So do you think people should have fewer apps on their phone instead of more apps?
There's actually research that says that people actually only really use 3 to 4 apps a week. So I think people have a lot of apps. I don't think they're actually using them, but so I don't think it's the amount of apps. I just think it's like, how are the apps problematic? Are they a problem area for you? And if they are, then they shouldn't be on your phone. It just depends on if they're a problem area. I think apps themselves are not necessarily inherently bad, but how are they impacting your finances?
Mm-hmm. Now, is your expectation that members will need a long time membership, or once they're on track, do they move on?
Yeah, we've it's fine. Gym member number 1 is still a member of the gym. She's been with me 4.5 years. We're actually just scheduling her quarterly review now. And when I started this, I thought it was like a 1-year plan and, check in and see how it goes. It depends on the person. Although when after our clients hit 6 months, we actually have a 98% retention rate. Because what happens is like, things start clicking, the numbers start working. And then now you have this third party, this sounding board that's actually completely paying for itself in the financial choices you've made. And it's kind of like, it's almost like it becomes a retainer that you're paying to keep, because there's always life choices.
To keep you on track.
Yeah, there's always, I always say fit people go to the gym all the time. I mean, there's always work you can be doing. And gym member number 1, she's in one of her recent meetings not too long ago. She's been working for something big. We weren't totally sure. And then she dropped the bomb on me. She wants to do the remote year. And so, a year of like doing her job, but like in another country. And I was like, yeah, like that's what you need to do. And I think this is where she was like, I do know her for 4.5 years. So I know what she's been going through. Like, I know about her career. I know that she's kind of been in a rut, and I know she has the money for it. And it all like came together. But like, I didn't see that happening. She didn't see that happening. We have couples that are, thinking about breaking up, or we have couples who are starting to date. It's like there's so many different life activities that money is involved, and it's always nice to ask somebody, and especially somebody who knows you, and like you don't have to redo the plan and figure it out. It's like a good thing.
Well, we want our lives to always be evolving, not just staying the same all the time.
Yeah, evolving and optimizing, we say. So yeah, that's what we're here for.
And you mentioned the CrossFit gyms. I think that the people who become like super fit, and even if they're competing, they don't stop going to the CrossFit gym.
No, they're just taking the next level, or they, become trainers, or they do whatever. They're constantly continuing to enhance their life. And that's what we want to be there for too. And that's how we imagine, that our interaction with our clients.
Oh, that's great. That's great. You host a lot of events at the financial gym. Do you have a favorite event?
Every Wednesday we do Wine and Learn Wednesdays at the gym, which is pretty much just like a class on money we call it gym gym-splained. Different ideas are gym-splained, which is just in English and educational. And I pretty much love all of them because I think they're all great and I think people should take advantage of them. But I probably love the most Investing 101. That's like a popular one that frequently sells out and people love coming to. And it's really just like demystifying investing, making people feel really comfortable with it. And we usually have a lot of like great takeaways, great conversations around it. And so probably Investing 101.
Investing 101 is always a good place to start.
Yeah.
And then does that include, I saw on your website, you have goal setting, budget spending, travel hacking, debt repayment, credit cards, investment education, and secure retirement. Travel hacking's got to be a fun one.
Yeah, travel. I mean, again, we're doing plans for our clients based on what they want. I think the number one goal that is across the board for most of our clients is travel. And travel is a great goal. Travel is expensive. So for our clients who have good credit scores and, we've got spending under control, we do help and coach them around, using credit card rewards to travel cost effectively and achieve their travel dreams without costing extra money along the way.
Yeah. So you're making it fun too. Mm-hmm. It's not all numbers and cutting spending.
No, we want our client. We always say like, we're not the ones taking the punch bowl away at the party. Like we want to bring the punch bowl, but like we just might be changing out the punch. We just want clients to make some like smarter decisions. So, we want all of our clients to invest. We want them to travel. We want them to spend money. I love when our clients are always surprised when we give them the thumbs up or the green light to spend money. They're like, really? It's okay. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you're working for. I mean, this is what it's all about. Like, we're not just about living this like, hermit
miserly
lifestyle. Yeah, that's not what it's about. This couple that's buying the house in London, I was like, guys, this is it. Like, this is what you've been meaning to do. This is why you've been working so hard and like eating avocado toast that they make at home. They weren't going out and eating avocado toast. They literally were having avocado toast for dinner like almost every night for like months and months to save on eating out. And so I gave them the thumbs up on this house and they were like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And here's why. And like, it's like, here's why it all makes sense. And it cracks me up when they're like surprised that we give the green light for spending money, but we will.
Right on. Well, that's setting priorities, then making it happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You're making wise choices.
Mm-hmm.
So Shannon, as an entrepreneur, as a trainer to all these financial fitness clients, how do you define success?
I feel like I already have it. So somebody asked me that recently. How do I define success? I mean, I feel like I've done it, and I've done it because we currently have a little over 500 clients at the financial gym who are getting their lives together. And that's amazing, especially when people told me I would never do any of this. So I feel like I'm already there. I'm like that CrossFit person at the gym, though I still want to keep improving on it. I think there's different tiers of success and level for success, but I mean, I feel successful thus far.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you have an inspired money tip that you can share that has had a big impact on your life?
Yeah, I think it's, and it sounds basic and it's not, but it's hard work. And the value of hard work, and that is the transformative nature, and like all of how I got this far, of how most of our clients reach financial success. Most people aren't handed financial success and like everything they want. Like, no, and look at any success story, it's never, the common theme isn't like they sat on their hands and like success fell in their laps. It's all about hard work. And there's the value of it, not being afraid of it, because the great thing about hard work, and especially around your finances, is like you actually get results. So, it's not like you just do the work and nothing happens from it. It's like you actually get results. So I'm all about being results driven, and hard work will get you the results you want.
Yeah. And then if I can add, I love the fact that it's not just the hard work. It's the fact that you put in the time and effort with the life coach and really try to figure out what it is that you want to do and what's going to be fulfilling for you. And then you apply the hard work.
Yeah.
And then it's gravy.
It's a lot of things, but it's like an evolution. But at the core and the core theme of my life and most of the success of my clients is a hard work factor.
Yeah. Yeah. It always takes a little elbow grease.
Always.
Well, thank you for sharing your inspiring story and helping to make financial fitness fun and attainable for everybody. Can you tell the Inspired Money listener where they can find more about the Financial Gym, your blog, and your podcast? We didn't even talk about a couple of those things.
Yeah. They can find the Financial Gym at financialgym.com. We're on Twitter at The Financial Gym. And I'm sorry, we're on Instagram at The Financial Gym. We're on Twitter at Financial Gym. And I have a podcast called Martinis and Your Money, Living a Better Life, One Cocktail at a Time. And that's on iTunes and Stitcher. And my blog's Financially Blonde. That's pretty much just my host site for the podcast now, because I don't have a whole lot of time to blog as much as I used to. So it's pretty much where you can find my podcasts, and podcast notes is what the blogs become.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Shannon.
Yeah. Thanks, Andy. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. So what was your favorite Inspired Money moment? Did you have one? I like money mindfulness. Be mindful about how you're spending your money. Rather than mindlessly swiping your credit card, take the time to think when you buy. The extra bit of advice is to add friction between you and your spending. Make it hard to spend. See if that helps you to save more every month. I bet it does. Inspired Money is brought to you by RUNNYMEDE Capital Management. We help clients to plan, invest, and worry less. Whether you're building your wealth or planning for retirement, maybe you have a small business with a 401k plan, we're here to help. Get to know us better and educate yourself for free by subscribing to our blog at inspiredmoney.fm. All the music on today's show is by Jim Kimo West. Want to be an inspired moneymaker? Do something that scares you. Do something that's going to make you better. Do something to give back in a bigger way to the world. Tweet or email me what you're up to. Until next time, find your inspiration and run with it.